And just like that, the entire planet was destroyed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
The whole thing right before my eyes. It was quite a spectacle, I gotta admit.
I imagine it would be. I imagine it would be. How did you say safe though? Say safe though.
Well, I mean,
Stay safe. If I words out.
well, considering I was the one destroying the planet, I was, I was within a pretty good distance away from it.
Right. Okay,
My
so
accuracy, very, very impressive.
really, really cool. Yeah. So wow, wow. J Shift there. Thank you very much with the 500 planetary destruction bits. Thank you very much.
That's right. It was indeed
PMSing
me.
Chicken. PMSing Chicken subscribed for 23 months. That's almost 2 whole years. Almost 2 years. And Zui as well, right at the very top, said, hell yeah, love you guys, and subscribed for 9 months as well. So thank you very much, folks.
You guys so wholesome. Thank you very much, guys. I didn't realize we were hoodie twins today, Jay.
Oh shit, yeah, we are.
That didn't even cross my mind. It wasn't intentional, but I love this hoodie.
Yeah, it's a good hoodie. It's a good hoodie. Yeah, I got out of bed like midnight just after, and it was cold, and I was like, yeah, just pull it on because it's nice and soft.
Yeah. Sometimes I even I usually don't sleep with a shirt. Like I usually don't sleep with really any clothes on, but every now and then I like to sleep with this hoodie. To be honest with you.
I too am a nude sleeper. Yeah.
Whoa, that's. I never said nude, Jay. Jeez. All right, I sleep nude.
I mean, I have seen you asleep, so I am aware of this.
Have you seen me asleep nude? Uh-oh. This is getting real sketchy. Teal Technic with a tier 1 sub for 4 months. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, man. And he started the hype train as well. Level 2 hype train. There we go.
Oh, level 2 already. Wow, very, very nice.
Level 2 already.
Let's see if we can make it to level 3 before the show officially starts. That's our goal today, guys.
Cool. Level 3 hype train. Nice.
Yeah, that's reasonable. Only one more level.
Yeah.
Not even the max level. Just to the next level.
Yeah.
You know, keep it reasonable. We're not too greedy here over at Top Clack.
Zui does a highlighted comment and said, "Poor man bits." Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Switch Keys, the lovely Steph, does a 5-month subscription now, 5-month streak. Thank you very much. Appreciate
Thank you so much, guys. Oh man, people donating bits now.
Oh gosh, here we go.
Oh man, Dulam? I think it's supposed to be pronounced Dulam. With 500 bits. That show love. Thank you so much. Very, very kind.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And Teal Technic with 100 bits as well.
Yeah.
Right after subbing. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. That's already like halfway to level 3. We're so close to level 3 now. Heck yeah.
Khan says,
nice.
What does this button do?
we don't know. Should we do a little mail call right now? I guess we're still trying to do that during the pre-show. Save a little bit of time.
Yeah, go for it. Mine's dead easy. I've had 0, zilch, nada, nothing this week. No mail call for me.
Which is strange because usually the roles are reversed, so it's always interesting when I get multiple things in the mail and Jay gets nothing. But hey, it's always fun. I guess I'll start
make
out
up for it next week.
Yeah, I'll probably have nothing next week. Don't worry. I'll start with the keyboard related items that I got. So I didn't technically get this in the mail, but on last Saturday, I met up with the Beepaha. Who some of you might know through various usernames, but he is local to Seattle, and he is a very nice guy, a keyboard enthusiast. He's also really into audio and 3D printing and things of that nature. So he made a couple parts for me. Those of you that have been around for a while might have remembered that I actually do own an Alpha X2, which is a board you don't see that often. But honestly, I think it's one of the more unique boards and more interesting boards I've ever used in my keyboard career. So I have kept this for a while, but the plate that I originally had for it was absolutely silly. It was steel, which is fine, but the issue I had is it forced arrow keys. This is a 60% keyboard. So
really?
Forcing arrow keys obviously means that you have a non-standard stagger on your shift row, which I tried, and I decided that I really didn't like the way it looked or felt. So he made me this brand new acrylic Alpha X2 plate, which is really cool. This plate is actually pretty unique for a lot of reasons, because the board itself has a lot of things going on, like micro switches here, and like other random stuff on the PC. The PCB has a hub actually. So as you can see here, try to get it. You have 3 USB ports there. So very unique PCB and plate design. But I really love this board, and I wanted to keep it, but I just needed extra parts for it. So you made me a new plate. Really happy about that. PCB should still work, hopefully. It does have a terrible finish on it, micro-oxidation. We don't really see this anymore, but this was kind of a big thing for like a year in the community not too long ago. It's a terrible finish, really, really awful. So I'm looking to get it redone. So very, very much looking forward to that. And in the same vein, he also...
I think you kind of sold me on that board. I think I kind of want one now. I'm gonna have to try and hunt one of those down. You sold me on the board.
Well, what's cool is it's not a popular board, so like people don't sell them for above group buy price. Like you can get them for like reasonable prices, but you just gotta get the right combo because that plate with the arrow keys oddly popular. Unfortunately,
really,
yeah. Or just get a custom cut plate like I did, obviously.
Does the PCB support ISO though? That's the question.
That's a good question. I'm gonna guess no, but yeah, it doesn't look promising.
Oh well, okay, dream over.
Actually, I can't really tell. Ask me again when I open this up. Or I guess we could just go look at the group buy. Who knows? But also in the same vein, because he does do lasering and 3D printing and stuff like that. He made me a little Switch mod station as well. It's even personalized with my own username right there. So that's kind of cute.
Bless.
A little smoked acrylic station. I need to put some bump-ons on this so I can actually use it. But that was very nice of him as well. And a couple non-keyboard related things. Not that I'm getting into the knife hobby or anything, but I felt it was time for a new knife. It's been about, I don't know, 15 or 16 years since I got my last one, which was already, kind of beaten up and too small for me. But I invested in a new knife. This is a Spyderco Tenacious. I know very little about knives, but I settled on this one after talking to a few people that know a lot more about knives than I do. This one was about $50 before shipping and taxes and stuff, but I've been really enjoying it. It's pretty nice. Looks nice, feels nice, has this kind of G10 grippy handle or whatever. I've been enjoying this. And what I've been most excited about is actually this ridiculous deal I got on a new laptop. So I got a Razer Blade Stealth. And this is pretty much the top-of-the-line Razer Blade Stealth model. It has the 4K touchscreen, current-gen i7 quad-core with hyper-threading, 16 gigs RAM, 512 SSD, the works. I got this local from someone local to me off Facebook Marketplace. Now, that board retails for about $1,400, $1,500, $1,600, brand new in those specs. And this is current-gen, and it is barely used. I paid $700 for this, local to me.
That's crazy. That's
absolutely
crazy.
Nuts. And the guy barely used it. Like, I was looking around on it, like, it's almost immaculate, which is just, it blew me away. And I knew for that price, I pretty much had to jump on it. And I'm happy I did. And I've been using it for the last couple days now, and it's been awesome.
Yeah, wow. That's a huge deal, to be honest.
Yeah, I've been in the market.
Jay says value.
Yeah. Jay Chef knows I love my value. That's really what gets me off, Jay. But so that's what I got. That's my mail call this week.
Cool, nice. That's a good mail call. That's a decent mail call.
It was a very fortuitous mail call. Shout out to PMSing Chicken, who I see donated 1,200 more bits. He's got that hunter's cheer in there. I've never seen that one before. Thank you very much.
Nice, thank you.
Awesome stuff. Jeff Leopard says, "Hi friends, hello to you as well."
Good evening, good sir.
It is 6 exactly. I guess that's just on time to start the show. I'm pretty sure that's when we're supposed to start this show, at least.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, 2 a.m. for me. Yeah.
Sounds about right. George asking if he missed your mail call, Jay. Everyone wants to know why you don't have anything.
Yeah, I mean, so I just didn't have anything this week. This week, just nothing got delivered. I do have 2 cards to pick up from the post office tomorrow, though, which says it's 4 parcels in total. So there may be stuff in there that's keyboard related. I do not know until I go and collect them. No. But yeah, nothing arrived this week that was keyboard related. I did get some pen stuff, but you guys won't be interested in that. I got some like collectible pens and things like that that I kind of like, but yeah.
I just showed off a knife and a laptop, Jay. I don't think they really care.
All right, okay. So I got a lot of pen stuff, but that's about it. Just those pen stuff, yeah. Show the pens.
F in chat for Jay, everyone. Doesn't want to show his pens. This hobby is very crisscrossed with a lot of other hobbies I've noticed.
Yeah, audio, apparently pens, which I wasn't aware of.
Oh yeah, pens big one, audio for sure, 3D printing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, let's officially start the show, so we can harass Jay to show us pens more next time.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's episode of Top Clack. I am your host, Quakeums, joined as usual by my lovely co-host Jay, and we're going to talk to you about some keyboards today. I know it's going to be tough. It's going to be a hard topic to discuss, but we need to have the talk.
A talk about keyboards. Yes.
That's right. And we do have a relatively light news doc, all things considered, but of course there's some pretty interesting things on there this week, but we'll get to that momentarily. Jay, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing pretty well, yeah, really rather good. 2 a.m, feeling fresh, frisky, got my coffee, and my new mug as well. Thank you, Mr. Petrol, for the recommendation. I did buy an Ember mug. For those that you don't know, it's like a smart mug that keeps things warm, so I'm going to try that out for the first time today.
Do you guys see this? He didn't show off his mug or his pens in the mail
because
call.
It's not keyboard related.
All right, Jay. Whatever
if you want me to show everything I got through the mail, there's a ton of car part stuff and God knows what else is there as well.
Could you just bring your car in and show it off on stream real quick?
I do want to do a build stream from my garage with the car in the background at some point. I do want to do that, yeah. That will happen at some point.
That'd be pretty fun, actually. Melanet says, this is a pen stream now. We are taking over. Uh-oh.
ISO pens.
Oh my god. What does an ISO pen even look like?
They're just fountain pens. In another hobby, I collect fountain pens. But I like vintage ones. So I got like a really good deal on some vintage Parker pens. So yeah, some vintage Parker pens. But there's like 4 or 5 different types and stuff like that. So yeah.
Ham Time says he missed the pen. He wants to know what it is. Everyone wants to know about the pens, Jay.
Okay, so there's 2 Parker 45s. There's another Parker Duo Fold, and then there's a Parker Vector, because they do them in kind of like fun colours and stuff like that. So that's it. It was just a little job lot of stuff on eBay for, I think it was £60 or something like that. So I just grabbed them. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, now we have had a look into the real life of Jay and his crippling pen addiction. We can get on to a quick announcement. Then we're going to roll into our news doc like always. We will end the show with a Q&A after the news doc like we always do. So if you have questions, make sure you stick around and save them for then.
Absolutely. Okay, so this week I just wanted to draw everyone's attention, and I'm going to shill this every week for the next few weeks as well. Right now, we are planning a UK meetup. So I know not everyone who watching is from the UK, but a lot of people who watch this mod are from the UK. So we have a UK meetup on the 28th of March. It's going to be in London, in and around the Canary Wharf area, so really quite central on the water. It's going to be absolutely lovely. We've got a great space for it. Tons and tons of people are going to be there. We're aiming to have 200 people there. Tickets are on sale at Mechboards at the minute, so mechboards.co.uk. Go and join out and buy a ticket. It's cheap. It's easy. It's going to be a great time. I'm going to be there. So, of course, you want to be there.
Very nice. Very, very nice. I totally actually forgot to list it, but I did want to make a quick note about Behind the Keyboard, just because this is the announcements section. So as you guys know, last week we did not have an episode. Let me just give a quick recap on what's happened. So I confirmed a guest several weeks ago. We agreed to it, we hashed out all the details, and then we had a bunch of technical difficulties, and we could not have the episode that Friday. Next Friday, I learned that he is in urgent care and is very sick, so he couldn't do the show there. He was finally feeling better, approaching last Friday, when the show should have been again. And lo and behold, he had a death in the family, and he had to fly to a different state. And I know he's not lying to me, because he's actually a friend of mine, so that's what's happening with behind the keyboard right now. So I'm officially gonna stop promising things because clearly Top Clack is the worst thing to ever happen to this guest. So I'm not making any more promises. I'm gonna keep trying to lock down guests, and I'm gonna make a schedule, and hopefully we can work this out. But yeah, clearly Top Clack has a really negative effect on some people's lives. And it's a bummer. The series is cursed, apparently. Yes. But anyways, the show must go on. We'll deal with that later. Let's move on to the news doc and talk about some keyboards.
Absolutely. Where are we starting this week, Brian?
This week, we're going to start with... Oh, wait. Oh, there we go. Okay. This week, we're going to start with the interest check for the Lisa, which is a project by Primatech and Void. And this is another Alice alternative, as I've been calling them. This one's a little bit different, though. So this is actually more of a bent steel frame, more a la something like the SKB 60 and SKB 65 that we've seen in the past. But this one has a little bit of different things going on with it. So a couple specs here: the top and bottom, obviously bent steel, 2mm. The plate itself is also going to be steel and powder coated in black. That's going to be 1.5mm, though. As for the body, you can have it powder coated black or white. It is going to be a top mount plate, 5-degree typing angle, and there's going to be a custom PCB with USB-C. So we don't really have a ton more information or pictures or renders, unfortunately, but just a couple here. But Alice layout, effectively, and bent steel case. How do you feel about this, Jay?
So I actually built the SKB a little while ago, so I got a 65% version, and I really like the kind of industrial aesthetic. So it's nice to see that that kind of style is being used by other designers now as well. I think it was Plastic Schnitzel who did the original SKB. Board was really nice, customizable angle. It was pretty cheap. It came up pretty well. So to see something similar to this is good in my opinion. I'm happy to see new designs taking advantage of that kind of technology and offering something that could be quite cheap and somewhere of a halfway house between milled CNC cases and plastic cases. So yeah, I think it's a good way to try a metal keyboard out for the first time. In terms of the layout, I do have a slight qualm with this, so I don't mind that it's the Alice layout. We're seeing it a lot. It's becoming a standard now. That's fine. What I do have a problem with is the arrow keys. I just feel like they don't quite work where they are nestled up against the shift key and the control key on the bottom row. I feel like if they just had a little bit of separation, it might just feel a little bit nicer for me on this particular board and really help with the visual aspect, especially with those top 3 keys on the right hand side being segregated as well. So yeah, that's the only thing I'd change though.
Yeah, otherwise it's looking pretty good. And something you alluded to there is actually the price. So just like in the SKB 60 and SKB 65 group buys, they were incredibly cheap because bent steel is obviously quite a bit less expensive than doing something like CNC metal. So that's something to keep in mind. And if you like this, then expect a pretty reasonable price here. We could see this as low as $100 or $150, honestly.
Yeah, I think in the chat, I think Primatech mentioned that it was aiming to get it under $200, including the PCB and all the hardware and everything else as well, which is it's not bad at all at that price point. I think if you like that industrial look, I think it's great. As I say, the only thing I would change is just kind of separating those arrows. It doesn't need to be much of a gap, just a 0.25 U or something like that around the top of the arrows and around the side would just make it offset nicely, I think. But yeah, I think it looks great other than that.
Yeah. Cool. So we'll check this out once it hits the group buy phase, should it get enough interest. Moving on to something that I'm a little interested in. I'm not gonna lie. So this is the interest check for the F100D gate, aka the Floodgate, and this is something we don't see too often. This is a full-size custom, and it has a very polarizing design, I will say. But let's just get into the nitty-gritty of what we know so far. So 4-degree typing angle. It uses an Atmega controller on the PCB, so we can assume that it will support QMK. It does have USB-C. The top and bottom are going to come powder-coated. Your plate options are going to be steel, copper, and aluminum right now. This is a very early interest check. Anything is subject to change. Keep that in mind. It doesn't say the mounting style, but we can assume sandwich based on the plate showing through the 2 layers here. That's generally how that works. And yeah, it's a full-size custom. We rarely see these. I think the last one we saw was probably the TX108 SE, and then before that it had been quite a while, maybe even as long as the Equals Mountain or the Southpaw full-size. But yeah, we don't get a lot of full-size customs in the community, and I'm kind of actually curious to know if there's really a market for them, because I recall the TX108 actually doing fairly well.
Yeah, the TX108 did quite well. Yeah, I think they sold quite a few of those. I'm just going to come straight out of the gate. I think this is great. I love it. I don't have a full-size custom. It's something that I've wanted for a long time. I've considered doing my own before and never got around to it. I like the fact that it's got chunky bezels. Anyone who knows me knows I like, a good bezel. A bezel-y boy is good for me. I like the fact that it's got a pen groove, right? You guys guys just found out that I have a pen addiction, right? So pen groove, pen rail, always a plus for me. I think it looks different. The styling's on point. I like the fact that the top corners are rounded and then the bottom corners are kind of angled off with some little bits showing off the plate. I like the fact that it's got the Floodgate logo across the top. I do think there's potentially an improvement you could add there, though. That Floodgate area that runs across the top of the numpad, that could be a really good position for an LCD screen. Something like we've seen on the Satisfaction 75, but a little bit larger. There could be some good opportunities there for some workflow masters to come up with something new.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we saw something similar, if I recall, on the Equals Mountain, which is another full-size custom. They actually did put a screen there, and I thought it worked out pretty well, to be honest. This design obviously takes a pretty far step into the obscure, though. The design language here is unlike what we normally see with customs. This is very kind of out there. It feels kind of reminiscent of a lot of the Chinese or Eastern designs that we see, which kind of could be really hit or miss. I think they get a lot more innovative than we do here in the Western community. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it might not. But at the end of the day, I think that this design in particular is very polarizing. I don't like it per se. It feels a little alien-wary to me, and I do think they could make some adjustments. And I gotta be honest, if you're using a full-size keyboard, big bezels are just going to get in the way even more, because a full-size keyboard already takes up so much space. When you start adding so much thickness to these bezels, you really do start to miss out on a lot of desk space. That said, I don't really mind it. I do agree with you, the top right corner here, this render doesn't actually show it, but this one does. They're thinking of putting the Floodgate badge there. That's a lot of space for a badge. That's a huge badge, and I think it could be better used as, like you mentioned, a screen or something else.
Yeah, there's some opportunities there to do different things with the case, absolutely. I know this is really early. There's no mention of prototyping or anything else in the interest check. This is just a case of trying to find out if there's actually a market for a full-size custom board in the current kind of era that we're in. So it'd be interesting to watch this, see how it goes, see if anything does come of it, see if it does get produced into a prototype. I would be really interested to see that, to be honest. So, yeah. Excuse me, that's me.
Whether I like the design or not doesn't really matter. I want to see more full-size customs, and I want to know what kind of market there is for it now. Obviously, the community's grown a lot in the last year or two, and when you bring new people into the hobby, you also have to try to give them something they're a little bit more familiar with, often which is full-size keyboards. A lot of the enthusiasts that watch this show are probably more big fans of 60%, 65% TKL and stuff like that, and most people don't really use full-size that are been around the community for a while. But I do think it does maybe help get people more comfortable into the community. With that said, there's no way this is going to be cheap. All full-size customs have been expensive, all things considered. Southpaw full-size had a pretty inexpensive SKU, but when you're working with this much metal, this many materials, and this kind of design, this is easily going to clear 500, if not 600. So
yeah, I mean, one of the bigger challenges is actually finding factories with machines big enough to do this kind of work. Sometimes their machines don't have enough space on them to do full-size boards, so it really does matter sometimes what that right to left kind of dimension is. So yeah, but I think it looks great. I will, if this goes to group buy, I will absolutely try one and pick it up. A couple of really tiny little things on the design that do bug me at the minute. Whilst I like the overall shape, the fact that the pen rail just slightly creeps into, so it creeps past the F12 key and just drops in line with the kind of blocker between the TKL section and the standard 60% section. I just feel that should be just maybe shortened, and it should be exactly the length of those two sets of F keys. So F5 through to F12, if it was that length, that might be a little bit better visually. But other than that, I think it looks great.
Oh yeah, I can see what you're talking about now. Without a pen there, it looks aesthetically fine, but I think with a pen there, it would look kind of funky.
Yeah, I think it just needs to be a touch shorter, just to make it nice and square. But yeah, I think it looks great other than that.
Yeah, what do you guys in chat think? Not this board in particular, but full-size customs. Is our community ready for it? Do we have the market for it? What do you guys think? Or is this something totally silly? Because I'm kind of curious. Also, someone pointed out that this wasn't actually a badge. It was part of the plate. It does function as a badge in a way. But yes, okay. It may not be a dedicated badge, a separated badge, but it's still
it's a logo etched into the plate, yeah.
It's a nameplate of sorts. All right, 1800 Mobetta, full-size meh. Yeah, that's kind of the response I was expecting, honestly. 1800 obviously offers you effectively the same functionality with a arguably better footprint. So I can kind of see where they're going with this. 60 GPFO. Okay.
Yeah, Bug Whisper says there's been a few equals mountain TX108. Yeah, and Brian's mentioned both of those. Those are the only two I can think of. I'm not sure of any other full-size customs on the market.
Besides the Southpaw full-size, which is still not fully shipped yet. Interesting. Yeah, so it seems like most people not entirely into a full-size layout, at least that watch here. Although I kind of also think that generally the type of people that watch this show right now tend to be a little bit more experienced as enthusiasts versus someone that might be brand new to the hobby. So, yeah, I don't know. It'd be kind of fun to put out like a census or something on our MK just to see. But yeah.
Yeah, just to see how that goes, yeah.
We'll have to wait and see, but, you know, I like where this is going. I think there is potential there, even though I don't entirely appreciate the design language. All right. Something I do appreciate the design language of, though, is our next board here by Poner. This is the group buy for the Jūbi. Actually opens tomorrow, not today, but it does open at 12 p.m. Pacific tomorrow. So tomorrow at noon Pacific time, this goes open, and it only has a 50-unit cap. So if you want this, you gotta be quick. Otherwise, you're not gonna get it.
Yeah, Brian, just a second, just you and I, just quick. Can we not shill this? Because I kind of want one of these, and I'm going to struggle to get there for that time. So let's not push this one too hard, okay? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So this is a terrible board. Don't buy it. We're moving on. No, anyways. Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Here's a couple specs on here for you. So 6-degree angle, aluminum housing, 17mm front height. So a little bit low profile on the front. I do appreciate that, actually. Seamless design. This one has a pretty interesting mounting style. So you can actually mount this with the included red aluminum plate, or you can mount it via just the PCB if you like the more PCB mount kind of style. I like that we're seeing more of this. I like the option. PCB, designed by Wilbotech, so you know it's going to have all the fancy bells and whistles. He's kind of the big name in PCB design at the moment. So QMK and VIA-supported PCB, you can be sure that you're going to see USB-C on there as well. There's going to be a polished steel weight, which is always nice. I love steel weights. Brass weights I feel like a little overplayed. I like that people go with steel more now.
Yeah, I agree.
Colors, you're going to be really limited on. They're going with just a few neutral colors, nothing fancy. Black, silver, and dark gray, so nothing terribly out of the ordinary there. Although the included plate is going to be red, so it looks like they're going for a very specific kind of design language and color combination there. There's going to be standard or wind keyless tops available, and like I mentioned before, launching tomorrow, the 28th at 12 p.m. Pacific time. So going to be coming up soon. $450 is the starting price as well, which seems reasonable. Maybe not too low, maybe not too high.
I think, given the fact that it's got a Wilbur PCB in there and 2 different mounting styles, I think that's absolutely fine as a price. As you might have gathered before, I've been interested in this board since Poner first teased it
3 years ago.
12 months, 2 years ago, whatever it was. Yeah, I don't know.
It's been a while.
Yeah, so I was really hoping that the raw version would get a nod in the group buy, because the prototype images that you can see, that is a raw version, and it's got these lovely mill marks just across that front edge that's kind of flattened. You can see that it's got these really, really great milling marks all the way across the edge. And I just think that looks absolutely beautiful, and I wouldn't want to polish that away or anodize it or anything. I just want to have a version with that on, because I think it looks great. Sadly, that didn't make it into the group buy, but I do think that the wing keyless is the version of the board to go in this one. I think the wing keyless version just stands out and looks great. Very, very aesthetic. In terms of the layout support, you've got pretty much everything you could possibly need. 2 different bottom rows. You've got 6.25U standard bottom row, or the 7U bottom row if you're going for the wing keyless function. You can split or have full right shift. Same with left shift. You can have ISO support. Backspace can be split or full, and you've got stepped or full caps lock. As well as having all of those wonderful macro keys in the kind of Revo K mini style as well. So yeah, really, really happy to see this come to group buy. I'm really excited for it. It's something that I've been looking forward to for a long time, and I can't wait to try and get my hands on one.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice looking board, and a lot of people have been really looking forward to this. But again, make sure you guys are on it, or not. Get off of it so Jay can get on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like real talk, expect this to go within 1, maybe 2 minutes tops.
Yeah, it's going to be quick.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, this is actually going to run on Switchplate peripherals. Switchplate is a vendor run by Reconsider It, I believe, who did the.
Yes,
he's got a few group buys under his belt already. Obviously, he's still working on the Southpaw full size and the Southpaw 65 group buys, which have both become kind of a nightmare. Unfortunately, not entirely his fault though. The factory has been kind of screwing around with him. But it is worth noting that the manufacturer doing the Jūbi will not be the same manufacturer doing the Southpaw board. So you can expect little to no tomfoolery, I would hope, with the new manufacturer. And hopefully everything turns out well, because it does look pretty nice. That proto looking real fire, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's been around a while, that proto,
Yeah.
and I know they've changed some things since then, because I think it was just top mount at the time when that proto came out. I don't think it was PCB mount as well. I could be wrong on that, but the fact that it's got 2 different ways of mounting it now is really good to see. And I was a really, really big fan of that mounting style on the Equinox, which is still my daily driver for travel. I still use that board with my iPad whenever I travel, so really excited to have its big brother try and join it if I can get hold of one tomorrow or later on today for me. Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go, guys. Good luck to everyone out there. Good luck to Jay, of course. And hopefully you can get one of those 50 units. It's a nice-looking board.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's move over to some key sets. Got a few interesting things happening this week, starting with the interest check for JTK John Wick. It's finally happened. The Keanu Reeves meme has finally reached the keyboard community. And it's interesting. First, I want to point out, which I think is actually kind of strange, is JTK themselves have been posting a lot of their interest checks lately, which I thought was kind of strange. Yeah. Usually when you have GMK runs, for example, you see either the designer or the vendor putting out the interest checks, but here JTK are doing it directly and then just crediting the designer, who is Riffin in this case, within the post itself. So kind of interesting approach. But regardless, let's talk about this set, Jay. How do you feel about JTK John Wick?
Okay. Hot take, it's just GMK 9s, but a bit more old, right? So this is GMK 9s that's been sat in the sun and has got a bit more sun-aged, how shall we say? Is that the way to put it? So yeah, it's fine. There's a colorway, it works. I like 9s. I have it on my JO2. I think this is fine. The sand color is probably a little bit darker than what I'd like, but yeah, it's fine. More than that, I've got a couple of things around the keys. I think the base kit's broadly fine. There's a couple of challenges that I would say is JTK now have ISO molds and double shot there for double shots and triple shots for all of the keys, but there's no ISO support in here, so I would like to see that added, including for the Depleted Vespine, who I saw was commenting on this thread as well. So it'd be nice to have in some keys for that. But other than that, I think the base kit's fine. It covers pretty much all bases, accent space bars, some 1U keycaps for 40s, everything else you could possibly want. Let's talk about the novelties though, Brian. how do you feel about these novelty kits?
So, like most people out there, I'm a fan of John Wick. I've watched all the movies multiple times. I enjoyed them. I like Keanu as much as the next guy. These novelties don't really do it for me. I feel like they're a little half-assed, if I gotta be honest.
Yeah.
They feel a little bit more like an afterthought. So, it's just kind of the way it is. I would like to see maybe instead of having... I don't know exactly what the kit breakdown they're going for is. Obviously here they have a base kit shown and then 2 novelties packs. One with the standard monochrome colorway and one with the reverse monochrome colorway for the accents. So I would like to see maybe these 2 novelty kits be combined and then maybe have another kit to give you some extra support. Like you were mentioning, JTK does support ISO now. Why not have an ISO kit? It's not going to be very expensive, so maybe something like that. Maybe take out the numpad from the base kit, put it in with the ISO, have a bolstering kit that way, and have a cheaper base kit. Maybe we can see something as low as $60 or $70 for this base kit, because JTK is a lot cheaper than GMK straight across. So obviously they have some more issues, one might say, but it is generally speaking a lot cheaper. But yeah, novelties. Yeah. Not really feeling them. They feel like an afterthought, and yeah.
I think the novelties could be revamped quite easily, and in my head, you just put a pencil on the ANSI enter, the ANSI enter, and just do that. Just literally have a pencil on it. It's subtle, it's classy. If people know what it's referencing, they will know what it references.
Yeah.
And that's all you need to do.
Yeah, I feel like they're trying to be a little too serious with the novelties, whereas John Wick is, while a serious action movie, it's also kind of just like, a fun, playful ride as well. And I feel like it's supposed to be almost comedic in a way. And I feel like there's none of that translating to the set itself. And like you said, it really does just look kind of like Nines. Which I know is kind of unavoidable at this point. You have a set, it's always going to look somewhat like another set. That's just the way it is. But this feels a little too similar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the colours are almost the same. As I say, it just feels like, the GMK 9s has been bleached by the sun because it's a little bit more sandy in colour than... in fact, the colour is actually almost identical to a chocolate bar we have here in the UK called a Caramac, which is kind of like a white chocolate Milky Bar type thing, but caramel flavoured. So just every time I look at this key set, that's what I see, that particular chocolate bar.
Yeah, it's not like it looks bad, though, because it doesn't. It just looks like a lot of other sets. Base kit could be structured better. Novelties could be done better. Let's see an estimated price as well. I think we should try to include that. If the post itself is coming straight from JTK, let's see an estimated price.
Yeah, if they're doing this, they must have already come up with a rough
idea
of what
right.
the prices are. So,
it's not like it's a designer waiting on a quote or a vendor waiting on a quote. This is straight from JTK, so they know how much this is going to cost to make. Let's see an estimated price. There's no reason not to do that. Also, just because I don't know what it means. Under the profile, it says JTK CA double shot. What does CA mean?
I think it's just their standard offering, just their double shot, their standard double shot keys, as far as I'm aware.
I wasn't sure exactly
I don't know what
CA meant.
But I think as far as I'm aware, it's just their standard JTK. It might be cherry something or other. I don't know.
Okay. Maybe someone in chat knows. Anyways, that's JTK John Wick. Not terribly excited about it. I think it could be done better, but...
Just because we're moving quite swiftly and we've not got many topics left, just to ask something and play devil's advocate with this. Do you think they might have any problems calling it John Wick?
Probably, yeah.
I'm
not going to be the one to say that, though.
Yeah, I just think that there might be some licensing issues and stuff like that with it. But you could be quite clever with the naming of this. There's a ton of stuff in the movies that you could reference this back to. You could call it Focus. John Wick is a man of focus and determination. And all the classic lines from the movies. There's a ton of options.
I like JTK fucking pencil.
Yeah, fucking pencil. Someone just said Baba Yaga and all of that.
Baba Yaga, that'd be a good one.
Exactly right. There are so many different things you could do with this without calling it John Wick, and I just feel like that might be pushing the boundaries a little bit. We saw something similar with GMK Hero, where it was all Legend of Zelda themed and Link themed and all that kind of stuff, and they spoke with Nintendo and kind of changed it a little bit. So, I just think we need to be careful with stuff like this as a community and not encourage too much intellectual property.
Yeah, it's one thing. It's one thing to be inspired by a set. It's another to like try to theme it so directly that the point is just shoved down your throat the entire time. And I feel like this is the latter, and it doesn't really work out quite as well. Anyways, let's move on to something else. Dolch. Very classic, iconic colorway, coming back with another run over on Originative right now. You can pick up a base kit, $159. Not terribly cheap for a GMK key set group buy, but that is kind of the Originative model. They tend to charge more, and they tend to pay for the runs up front, which is why it's usually a little bit more expensive. They pay for it all out of pocket up front. They get a slightly earlier spot in the queue, or seemingly earlier spot in the queue, because they can lock up a spot and then announce it 2 months later. Then it seems like the queue is 2 months shorter than it actually is. Originative have been doing this, for as long as I can remember, and a lot of people are into that.
Yeah.
And some people are okay with paying $20, $30, $40 more for a base kit if it means they effectively get it 2 months earlier, for example.
Yeah, I mean, just on that, I mean, at the end of the day, if you consider it, it's Originative are taking the risk here with their own money rather than collecting all the funds in advance and doing a group buy. So if they're taking the risk, is there potential for more reward? I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Petrol would say this is the capitalist in me coming out, but that's really not the case. But yeah, it's Dolch.
I mean, it's certainly just another way to go about it, right? Because generally a key set group buy works like this. You do an interest check, you get enough interest, you start the group buy, you collect the money, whether you're a vendor or not, you collect the money, you pay you submit the order to GMK, you pay them, then it gets made, and then, it takes forever or whatever, then it gets shipped to the vendor ships it to you. Here, they do it a little bit differently with Originative. They will pay for it all up front. They will pay GMK, then they will wait a month or 2 or 3, and then they will post the group buy or pre-order open on the site, and then when it ships 3 months later, it looks like it's a group buy that went really fast, but in all actuality, you just didn't know about it, and Originative did the waiting for you, and then they charge you a little bit more for it. Some people are into it and okay with it, some people maybe less so, but that is the Originative business model. Regardless, let's take a look at the set itself. $159. Here's the base kit. This is what it gets you. Pretty standard stuff. We do see UK ISO in there. It's pretty nice. You get the numpad in there. You do get compatibility for pretty much anything relatively standard that you can think of. 65, 75, 7U bottom row. You got a couple accents. HHKB, Sangon. You got some accents in there as well. So actually a pretty darn reasonable base kit, all things considered. But $159 price tag is definitely a lot more than we would normally see for this kind of base kit. This kind of base kit would generally fetch around $125 or $130. So how do you feel about this and the way it's structured?
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that Originative are taking that risk means that they can put the price up a little bit more. I think that's kind of fair on them. They're taking the risk instead of the buyer, so there's no chance of this group by failing. We know that Originative have bought it out already. It's going to happen. It's going to be produced. In fact, it's probably already in, as you said, GMK's production queue. So they probably already know when they're going to manufacture it, and it's probably already got that slot available. So I think that's completely fine. As you said, the base kit's kind of standard for what would have been a good, strong base kit a couple of years ago. I'm always happy to see the UK ISO keys included, which is really nice. Even if not, then just standard ISO coverage is always good to see. Accent coverage is there as well. For those interested, the original Dolch ones, they did have the accent on the ANSI enter, but they didn't ever have it on the ISO enter, so it's not something I would push for here. The original Dolch runs only had the red accent on the escape key for the ISO model, so I'm completely comfortable with that as well. I think it'll do just fine. Everyone loves Dolch. It's a classic colorway.
It's hard to hate on it. It's been, revised and reiterated about 800 bazillion times in our community through various means and people. And it's iconic. There's no one really that I feel like hates it. There's not really a whole lot more to say on it because of that. So if you want GMK Dolch, the run's open right now. If you're okay paying $159, estimated ship date is towards the end of August, and this pre-order runs until almost the end of March. So you still have quite a while to decide on it as well.
Plenty of time, yeah. I mean, the other good thing about this as well, for me, this is one of those sets that should always be in stock somewhere. No one owns the rights to Dolch, so anyone can make it if they feel like it. And we've seen various runs. We've seen Kekon Dolch, we've seen Korean Dolch, we've seen standard Dolch run by 2 or 3 different vendors, like this base kit, and then we've seen all the color variations, Yolch and Sky Dolch and God knows what else. But for me, this is one of those classic base kits that fits into the white on black, the black on white, the Honeywell, the Dolch. Those are the 4 standard kits that everyone should have opportunity to purchase at any time, is my view. I'd like to see a world where those 4 kits are just available, whether it be through different vendors or through GMK themselves on their unique key site or whatever. Those are the kind of 4 key sets that just are the foundation, the basis for the hobby. The only other thing I do want to shout out about on this particular page is there's a little bit of snippet of information which really excites me, which says we'll be ordering these Dolch sets along with Hyperfuse Origins and Skeletor, and they'll be in the same shipment. So GMK Skeletor is coming back, which is great news, I think. I absolutely love that set. It's a bit bright and flashy. Brian, I'm probably sure you dislike Skeletor, but...
I'm not the biggest Skeletor fan. You're right.
Fair enough. But I'm really happy to see it come back. In fact, I'm going to have a look on the site now just to see if that's in pre-order stage as well. I can't see it.
I'm gonna look around for it as well.
Hyperfuse Origins isn't, so yeah. I can only assume it's not, but that's a shame.
Yeah. You know what I did like, though?
March 1st it's coming. A1A says March 1st.
Oh, okay. So just a few more days then. Easy peasy.
Yeah.
What I did like about Skeletor, though, is several years ago, back when mixing GMK sets was all the rage, I really did like the Skeletor alphas with the GMK Cyan mods.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's the same cyan for the cap. So you get this kind of really nice all cyan aesthetic, and it looked really nice. But yeah. But hey, a lot of people like that set. Skeletor was very successful when it ran.
I love it. Yeah, it's kind of like it paved the way for sets like GMK Taro and other things like that to come out with bright colors in my head. So yeah, I was. Just reread on the main page. It actually says tomorrow Hyperfuse Origins and Skeletor is launching Feb 28th. Well, goddammit, it's February 28th where I am, and it's not for pre-order. Disappointing.
Originative is a US-based company, so
it doesn't matter. I'm living in the future.
I'm assuming.
I'm living in the future.
I'm gonna assume they're going with their more local time versus your Brexit time. So
Brexit time? What?
Well, you don't like that, Jay? I can't. Is it too soon? Is it too soon?
Where's the quick talk Clack button after that comment? Jeez, that's
Come on, the viewers love it when I harass you, Jay.
Wow.
Anyways,
I see how it is.
Anyways, all jokes aside, bam, there you go, Dolch Run, $159. Let's move on to another GMK group buy, and I know you're a pretty big fan of this one, if I recall, Jay. This is the group buy for GMK Apollo. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this one, Jay?
Yeah, so GMK Apollo, inspired by the original Apollo missions of the 60s and 70s, and it's kind of designed with a bit of a moon theme. So for those of you who don't recall, the past couple of years have been high on people's agenda because it's been 50 years since we visited the moon, and the Apollo missions were designed just to do that. So it's a whole kind of space race back in the 60s and 70s around who would be the first person to get to the moon. We finally got there in 69, and this is kind of around to celebrate this. It's a little bit later. So taking the colours of our closest celestial body, as Optic mentions in the interest check, and picking up some of those colours as synonymous with moon pictures, the rocket launches, and all of that kind of stuff as well. That's the theme for this particular set. So it's really nice to see that. I'm a huge fan of anything NASA space related and all of that kind of stuff. So this is right up my street. Base kit, great name by the way. Command module. So for those that you don't know, the actual the Apollo spacecraft have different names for different segments. The command module was the very top part where they could control all the ship and everything else. Base kit pretty solid. You've got lots of options within this. You've got standard TKL layout with 7 U-bottom row or 6.25. You can do HHKB 65%, 75%. All of the kind of options are there. There's also some accent keys for escape, ANSI, enter, and your arrow keys, but there's no inclusion of numpad or ISO in the main kit. However, don't fear. If you do want numpad and ISO, there is the telemetry module. Again, great name, where both UK ISO with a couple of additional keys, and including US ISO as well for depleted Vespi. One guy who uses it in the community.
Yes. Yes.
As well as your numpad with some accent keys as well there for both the enters as well. So there's kind of a secondary kit there. Hopefully, my hope on this kind of stuff is that the ISO users will bolster the numpad users, and the numpad users will bolster the ISO users, and it will get to MOQ that way for these additional kits. As well as that, there's also, I'm going to come back to the novelties in a second, but there's also a Fortis kit which is called the propellant module. Again, there's some really good names for these. If you're interested in the space at all, there's some really good names. The Fortis kit offers pretty much every coverage you could want. Plenty of different escape keys, enter keys, tab keys, you name it, it's got it. All of the regular space bars, including the new ones as everything else. The only thing that is missing from this key set, it's not in the Fortis kit, which you usually see in the Fortis kit, is actually in the base kit, is the extra B for Alice users as well. So there is an extra B in the base kit for Alice users. It's not in the Fortis kit, which is where it's usually appended. And then there's the standard space module, space bars, again, good naming convention, which offers all the different space bars that you could possibly want as well that aren't in the base kit. But let's take a little bit of a closer look at those novelties, Brian. Have you had a good look at these? Do you like these?
Oh yeah, I went through this thread pretty heavily earlier. And I do. I think this novelties kit is very, very strong. In particularly, these row 1 novelties really, really get me. That helmet with the moon in the reflection is superb.
So good.
Superb.
Yeah, so good.
And even the more basic kind of crescent moon effect here with the alternating colors, I think is quite nice. The rest of them, I care a little bit less about, but that helmet with the reflection, I think is sublime.
Yeah, I would agree on the helmet with the reflection. I also like the Apollo rocket that's on the ANSI enter. I do think there's a huge wasted opportunity to have had that rocket stood up on an ISO enter. I think that would have looked great. That is definitely a lost opportunity here. The rest of them I'm not too fussed by, but they're not bad. You've got the lunar lander, you've got the command module, and you've also got the lunar rover, which was the little car they took up for later missions as well on the other ones. Those ones I'm not too fussed for. They're all fine. They're all, they all work. They fit the theme. They're pretty good novelties. But the ones that I really like are the kind of, as you said, Brian, the space, the helmet, and the rocket as well. I think those both look really, really good.
Yeah, in the same vein, which is something we don't actually see too often. We don't usually see the Rama novelty or Salvin novelty. We don't usually see the premium metal novelty be a copy of a novelty that already exists in the set. Oftentimes it's an entirely new design, but here they like that reflection on the helmet so much, that's what they went with here, and it really does look fire, like Javon says in the chat.
Yeah, I mean, it's slightly different to the actual to the set novelty, but you're right, it's very, very similar. It's kind of got the same aesthetic, and I agree. I think it looks absolutely stunning. Yeah, I think it looks great.
Yeah, so good. So, taking a look at a couple other things they have going on here. They do have, typical GMK key set stuff these days. They have multiple desk mats. They have cable collaborations. They even have marble wrist rest collaborations, which we'll get to in just a moment because I do want to expand a little bit more on that. Desk mats looking pretty nice here overall. I think maybe some of these things could be placed differently inside the desk mat. Obviously, your keyboard's going to cover up a lot of this, of the landing module there for the second set, and then your keyboard's going to cover up a lot of the moon in the first desk mat. So I think maybe things could have been aligned a little bit differently, but design-wise, I think they're very successful. I think they fit the theme quite nice.
Yeah, I really like the New Horizons desk mat. I think that moonscape is just a great image. I will absolutely be picking one of those up as well as the rest of this set because I think it just looks great. Anyone who's got a black board, a grey board, or a white board, this set is going to look good on it. I was debating between this and GMK Ashes, and I think in the end I'm going to end up having to get both because I just really like this set.
Yeah.
And I like everything it stands for. The theme is just really, really good.
Interesting. When does Ashes actually launch? It's soon, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's March 3rd, I think.
I wonder, there might be a lot of people having to decide between these two sets.
Could well be, yeah. Ashes, Luna, and Apollo are all running in March. Yeah, March is crazy stacked, as Melodette says. There's a lot coming in March. And interesting 2 space-themed sets as well, so yeah.
Yeah, people love those space themes. Regardless, though, this set in particular, I think, does a really good job on the theme. It's laid out really well. It's structured nicely. This is a really nice set. And that's my thoughts on it. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. Interestingly as well, just as an aside, there's quite a few comments around people from the EU using the US vendor for this one rather than the EU one. So I don't know why, but I did notice some comments on that in the thread earlier on as well. Just in case, in terms of numbers as well, it is up at 134 units already after 2 days. So in fact, that was as of the 26th of Feb. So after 2 days of being open, it was at 134 units. So yeah, I think it must be even higher than that now. I'm not sure if there's been an updated number.
You said EU people are buying from the US vendor?
Yeah, there's been a couple of comments about that in some forums I've seen where, in fact, there's one here where Koano says, too scared to order from Candy Key, so probably have to skip this one. But I've seen other people saying that they're going to pick it up from the US vendor, which is interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's always an option, right? If you don't like the way a vendor has treated you or the practices they have, then you can always order from another vendor. Might cost a little bit more in shipping, but at least you'll eventually probably land on a vendor that you like with so many proxies for every set these days.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always for supporting your local vendors, guys. So it does make things easier overall. So yeah, definitely worth taking a look. But 134 units sold on 26th of Feb. So after 1 or 2 days, depending on how you want to count that, that's pretty good going. That's halfway to MQ.
That's not bad. Yeah, that's not bad at all.
How's that? How's the numpad doing? Telemetry module 24 of 100. That's not too bad either. Yeah, quarter of the way there. I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely well on track to have probably every kit made, or at least close enough to have extras bought out or something, you know. So, yeah, there you go. That's open now. It's open until March 25th, so still have quite a while to decide on it, but looking pretty darn tasty. Now I did set this as a separate topic, but it is kind of linked in here too. But we're gonna talk about the marble wrist rest for it as well. So there's a simultaneous group buy happening alongside GMK Apollo by Marble Keep here for the Cosmos Black Marble wrist rest, and I brought this up because this looks really good. I gotta be honest, this looks really good. So there's actually a lot of text in here, but I'm gonna summarize it a little bit for you guys. So basically, he's doing a marble wrist rest run alongside GMK Apollo here. Pricing starts a little on the high side, but again, it is marble, so keep that in mind. So the cheapest models are going to be about $60 US here, and then you're looking at about another $22 shipping from Taiwan. So definitely not going to be a cheap wrist rest, but man, look at these. Now do note these are renders of the 65% and TKL models. What I'm going to call the negative to this thread here is that the 60% models have actually already been made, which is kind of cool in a way. But the downside here is they are a different design entirely. So instead of being an angular, like you generally expect from almost every wrist rest in existence for keyboards these days, these are completely flat, which I don't quite like as much. I got to be honest. And the corners, I'm trying to find a better picture of it here. Sorry, guys. These corners here on the bottom are incredibly widely rounded, and I think that takes away a lot of the much cleaner, nicer aesthetic that they get from the 65% and TKL sizes that you can see here. Much smaller corner radii there, and that angle really does make it look so much better. It makes it look more standard, but it makes it look way nicer as well. And that marble,
it's probably more ergonomic as well, having the little angle to it. Angling your wrists up rather than having them flat to the board. It's probably going to be a little bit more comfortable to use. But yeah, I agree. The renders definitely look nicer for the 65% of the TKL version than the 60%. Luckily, I tend to use more 65% than anything else. So
yeah. If so, I asked them. I didn't get a reply yet. It looks like, but I did ask in the thread if they ever plan to move that particular design over to the 60% as well, or if they plan to keep 60% flat and very widely cornered. And no reply yet, but we'll wait and see. But even if I have to get a 65% or a TKL one, I really want one of these wrist rests. Not the cheapest thing in the world, but it looks really, really nice, Jay.
It does look really good, yeah.
Anyways, there you go. So whether you're buying GMK Apollo or not, this could be a potential option for you if you're a fan of wrist rests in marble. All right. If you're a fan of silent switches and you like JWK offerings that you've been seeing a lot lately, this could be something for you. This is the group buy for Ghost Switches by Vickery G there, who we've been seeing doing a lot of work with JWK/Duroc lately, and this is no exception. So he's just bringing another recolored JWK switch to the market. This one in more of a ghost theme. I'm gonna open up his website here because he doesn't actually have a picture linked, but they are going with a kind of a white on white colorway, I guess you will. It's more of a milky top, milky bottom, milky stem sort of affair, I guess.
Yeah, that's closer. Yeah.
But yeah, there's the picture of it for you guys there, and I think it looks pretty cool. It looks kind of like a Gateron, a glow in the dark switch, but with a milky bottom instead of a black bottom. But kind of a similar approach here. They did vote on the colors, and the white on white option was by far the winner. So people definitely wanting to see that ghost type switch. I kind of like that. I like that colorway.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. I think it's going to look great. Vickery G is, he's been doing this with optic boards in the UK for a long time now. I actually think I might meet him for the first time at the UK meetup, so I'm excited for that. I'm hoping he's going to be there. We have had a bit of a chat about how we can do some stuff to support the meetup as well, which is kind of cool. So he seems like a really genuine guy, down to earth. The switches look great. I don't have any of the silent switches from Duroc stroke JWK as yet. I know people have had some silent alpacas and things like that. I haven't tried those yet, so I think I'll definitely be jumping on these as well. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, just like you, I have never tried any of the JWK silent options either. If they are as good as their non-silent options, I will be quite happy. Especially seeing the price here. So this is open for pre-order right now, guys, and the pre-order price is about 60 cents per Switch USD, which is about 47 pence or whatever. Is that what you call them? Pence?
Yeah, pence. Yeah, pence and pounds. Yeah,
pence and pounds. All right. So so pretty inexpensive. Normally, when we see silent switches, we see them with a rather hefty markup compared to their non-silent brethren, if it's an almost identical switch, vice versa. But here you actually get pretty competitive pricing, all things considered. This is only about 5 cents more per switch than all the non-silent JWK offerings. So I like seeing that. Normally you get a 10 or 15, 20, maybe 25 cent markup over the non-silent switches versus silent. But here, much smaller delta. I like seeing that. It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yep. So looking forward to checking these out. I'll probably pick some up as well. I like the color. The price is reasonable, and he seems to be doing a pretty good job overall. So, with a very low MOQ of only 20,000, what could go wrong? I think that's why a lot of people have been running so many JWK switches lately, because their MOQ is a fraction of what even Gateron's is now. I think Gateron's is currently at around 100,000. So, it's much easier to fund 20,000 in switches than it is to do 100,000.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, really excited to see this go forward. Big shout out to Vickery G, and I can't wait to see him at the meetup. But yeah, definitely looking forward to these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And other...
I don't know if we covered it. 67 grams and no factory lube as well. He has categorically said there will be no factory lube on these. So yeah.
Which is good. I like seeing that. Now we're at a point in the community where so many people either lube their own switches or have switches lubed for them. Very few people in this hobby nowadays, it seems like, use stock switches when they buy a boutique switch like this. So I think it's actually playing out better for the community on switches that are boutique like this to not have factory lube, because either we're going to lube them ourselves or someone else is going to lube them for us. You might as well just, not even do the factory lube, especially if it saves money, which it might.
Yeah, right.
Yep. Otherwise, everything else looking pretty standard here. All the typical plastic composition lineups that you're used to seeing from JWK. Seeing a 67-gram spring here, so very, very standard stuff for a boutique switch. So, yeah. Looking pretty decent, and the price is looking pretty reasonable as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Just before we move on, Long Schlong Boy, thank you very much for gifting a tier 1 sub to Javon. It's their first gift sub, but thank you very much. Really appreciate that. So love the support there. Thank you.
Very nice. Always big shout outs to Long Schlong Boy for the username in particular. Anyways, that's actually going to wrap up our news doc for today. Very, very short, so we're going to move on to our sponsors for just a moment, and then we are going to get to our Q&A section that we end the show with, like we always do. So if you guys have questions, you can start asking them right now. Use the @TopClack tag so we can see them a lot easier. Helps us out a lot. And we will get to them just momentarily. But this week's episode of Top Clack, starting with Novel Keys as the initial sponsor. So if you want to head over to Novel Keys, you can find lots of fantastic things they have going on right now. GMK Darling is still open if you're a fan of maybe some Japanese sub-legends or weeb culture, or maybe you just like red and white. GMK Darling could be for you. It ends tomorrow, so if you haven't gotten on it and you've been meaning to, now is the time. If you're more of a Star Wars fan, they have GMK Boba Fett still in stock, so this is an in-stock set. It will ship very, very quickly if you buy it. It is a little expensive, but that's because it is officially licensed. I like to think of it more as a collectible versus a typical GMK key set myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, so that's still available now if maybe you're a Star Wars fan and you like GMK sets. They still have lots of other things going on, though. Maybe if you want some supplementary Alphas kits, you can get it on GMK Zuyin, which will give you some of those delicious, very, very tasteful Chinese sub-legends from the... actually, I think they're Taiwanese dialect. My apologies, I could be wrong there. But anyways, lots of things still going on there, so you still have a little bit of time to get in on that as well. Cam Wraith is also still ongoing. I believe that, too, ends tomorrow, so if you're meaning to pick up that, now's a good time. Only a $95 base kit, very, very inexpensive for the compatibility that you get, so make sure to hop on that while you're there. And, of course, they have everything else in stock, usually. If you want lube, you want springs, you want switches, you want stabilizers, you want desk mats, you want... You name it, they probably got it. And if it's in stock, make sure you use Clack as your promo code, CLICK. That'll get you 5% off your total order.
Cool. Okay, jumping over to our second sponsor of the night, it is Kono Duck Store. So the wonderful guys over there have got a number of different delectable treats in stock for you if you want to join us at group buy, or if you want to get something delivered to you. So right off at the top of the shop, let's look at Cat Oasis. So this is, been around for a little while. There's some great renders of this. Brian and I talked at length about this cat set on the show a couple of weeks ago. Lots of different options here, a ton of different kits. You can cover pretty much any board that's ever been made in the community if you buy the right kits for this, including some very, very cheap blanks as well. So lots of different opportunities for lots of different price points for this particular set. If cat isn't your thing, GMK might be, and in the GMK theme they do have GMK Hero, which is kind of a Legend of Zelda inspired set that's running group buy at the minute. It is struggling, so if you do like this, do jump on it, try and get it to MOQ. It's definitely needed some little help, a little nudge in the past couple of days. If that's not your kind of thing, you might prefer a gold and black theme. and for that they have GMK Spirit, which is in group buy right now. A rerun of the SA Strong Spirit Keycap set, now into GMK. And this one kind of took us by surprise, and we still haven't covered it on the show, Brian, even though it's 2 weeks in. We meant to do it last week and we forgot, and then we didn't do it this week because we forgot.
Just play it off like we know what we're doing. Just pretend you know what you're doing. That's all we do.
So if that is your kind of thing, please do go check it out. Plenty of different kits there, lots of good breakdowns. And then finally, GMK Copper, which is about to end momentarily or imminently in the next couple of days, is still finally up there. So if you haven't joined this already, it has met all expectations. It is going to be made. All kits are going to be made. Go and join. It's moved into pre-order already now, so you can definitely pick that up as well if you would like it. If there are any other sets that they have running group buy, you can genuinely join the pre-order as well. So do check if they've run anything recently that you would like. But failing that, if you're looking for keyboards, they also have the Hex Gears X1 in stock, which is the super low profile wireless mech as well. So if you've got a friend here trying to get in the hobby, they want something low profile, or if you just want a low profile board, this might be something for you. Nice TK layout, plenty of different options, and a pretty damn good price to start off there.
Yeah. Fun fact about this, I've actually used one of these at a meetup, and it's honestly a lot better than I was expecting. Those low profile kill switches, actually pretty good.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of them actually. To be honest, for a low profile switch, they're pretty good. Yeah, they're not bad at all.
Anyways, sorry about the rambling. Moving on, we have KBDfans next up. We have a few things going on right now. They still have the group buy open for the laser on switches, so if you're a fan of the laser colorway, these could totally be for you, whether you're a fan of GMK laser or the more recently released SA laser, or, which is still currently in group buy, I'm trying to remember what they're calling it. It's part of Bito's Godspeed run, but in the laser colorway. I forgot what they're calling it, but obviously these will match that, which is still currently going on drop.com right now. So if you're looking to match that set with some switches, these look pretty darn good. Otherwise, they're just a pretty standard recolored Gateron. Next up, they still have a lot of the new Enjoy PBT double shot ABS sets. So we have talked about this on the show a little bit. But all of them, $69. Great price chosen. I really respect that. Coming in multiple colorways. Now, we haven't got a chance to check out the quality yet, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what one of these $69 double shot ABS sets can offer. So I will be picking up one of these very soon. Maybe the Discord or something can help me choose on which colorway I should buy. And that'll be you think so? That's kind of what I was thinking too. I'm a big fan of cyan though, so I don't know. I didn't want to completely overplay it.
Yeah, it's the only color you can actually see, right?
Wow, that hurts. All right, I had that color though.
Man,
that's okay. You're right.
You started tonight. You started tonight.
You know what, Jay? Real talk. You are more than welcome to always make fun of me on stream. I think it always makes for a better stream. Anyways, back to KBDfans. They have lots of things in stock, whether you are an experienced enthusiast or you're just beginning. They have something for you. Tons and tons of parts, tons and tons of sizes of keyboards, numpads, cases, keycaps, whatever, you name it, they probably have it. It's one of the best stock stores in the keyboard community.
Yeah, absolutely. And jumping over to our final sponsor of the evening, it is the Key Company. So this is a few different things you can look at here. GMK Future Funk. This is in group buy right now. It's going to be made. All kits are going to hit MOQ, so you can definitely take a look at that. Big news there. So if you do like a nice brightly themed keycap set, this might be up your street. My vote goes for the all purple version. But there's also a ton of different apparel options of this. So if you want hoodies and caps and all of that kind of stuff, then that's there, as well as the Rama cap and desk mats and all of that kind of good stuff to go along with the key set. So you can absolutely kit your desk out and yourself out with Future Funk if that's what you want to do. So no judgment. If that's your kind of thing, go for it. As well as that, there's also the Infinity LED Zep. So we've seen LED Zep run in GMK format before a couple of years ago now. I think it was 2018 when that set ran. A very popular red, black, and cream colorway. And now there is a whole lot of love for the Infinity version. So a huge base kit, lots of different choices in terms of keycaps here, and lots of different boards. Big shout out to see it on that Relic SSK as well. That's definitely a board I'm waiting to see.
I was just about to say, how long has it been since we saw a key set rendered on an IBM Model M, SSK or not?
Well, that's the Relic SSK, so that's a new board that's coming soon.
Oh, that's true. Okay,
yeah.
I didn't expand on it enough. That is a great look, though. That is
it's a lovely looking board, right? And the key set works so well with that board as well. Anyway, yeah, so Infinity Key Led Zepp is in group buy right now. So if you want to join that, you absolutely can do. You can definitely pick one of those up. So designed by Thesis Camper, this is really well known set. Definitely go take a look at that as well. As well as that, they also have some desk mats that are in stock right now. So if you want a thick thock desk mat or a blank desk mat, those are in stock right at this minute. So you can go and get one of those lovely Topra style desk mats or Topra branded desk mats, or you can get the blank one as well. Yeah, they've got the Keyrative Cherry Profile ABS blanks as well. So if you want to spend very little and you want to try and keep on a budget, for $24 you can get a Keyrative Cherry Profile ABS keycap set in many different colors.
I got
$24.
I know I'm rambling again, but we haven't covered this on the show yet. But this kind of flew under the radar. I feel like I just randomly came across this on the website. They didn't even tell me about it, and I was like, man, that's actually a pretty good value. Spending $24 on like a full set of Cherry Profile ABS caps. They are blanks, but your color options are insane. Obviously, OBS is stupid and whatever, doesn't actually pick up this drop-down menu, but there are a lot of colors to choose from. Prussian blue, ultramarine, army green, like light green. The options are pretty insane, and it's kind of cool. So I feel like if you never tried Cherry Profile ABS before, and you've you don't have a lot of money, this could be a great way to try it out, or maybe a present for someone. $24. That's so cheap.
Yeah, and pretty good damn coverage as well from a keycap perspective. There's pretty much everything you could want within these kits. You've got numpad, TKL, 60%, 65%. You can cover pretty much anything, and the blanks as well. So it doesn't matter that you're struggling for the right or wrong legends or anything.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That. There's even an ISO enter key in there, which is amazing.
I'm gonna get one of these. Right after the show, I'm ordering a set of this. Just saying.
Yeah, we should reach out to Jason and ask for a set. I want that Prussian blue set. That's a really good color.
Oh, it's $24. I think I'll buy it. I'm not gonna be so petty as to ask for a $24 set. But yeah, no,
that's unlike you, Brian. You're always usually asking for the freebies.
You're totally right. Anyways, let's go back to our Q&A section here. Because we have been rambling about that for a little too long, and I apologize for that, guys. But we are now back to our Q&A segment. So, again, if you have questions, we got answers. Use the @TopClack tag. I've seen a couple questions already there. We'll get to some of these before we head out for the evening.
You're going to have to catch me up because the chat's moved on so far. I can't see many of the questions addressed. So
I think I got it. I think I got it.
Cool.
There's only a couple so far anyways. So PMSing Chicken asking, are there any other GMK sets that do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 row profile like GMK Carbon Round 2? So default Round 5. Or Row 5, sorry.
So the original one of Sky Dolch had it.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yeah.
GMK TA90 had a default Row 5, if I recall. Yes, yeah, I think it only had Row 5, yeah. So definitely a couple options there. What else? What else?
GMK Iris. I don't know if you remember that, but that was that bright.
Oh, that's right.
Purple.
Yeah.
Set. That I think, if I remember rightly, that only had Row 0 and Row 5. It didn't offer.
Yeah, the Row 0, the legendary Row 0.
Yeah, which I only have in some really old OG sets. I never got Iris, sadly. Maybe I should look that up actually. But yeah, Row 0 and Row 5. Yeah, as standard. That's all it offered.
Yeah, so definitely, there are a handful of other sets out there that definitely take advantage of the Row 5 and apparently even the Row 0.
Yeah.
I can't think of any other off the top of my head, though.
No, that's there might be a few more. I think there's been some add-on sets that have added it.
9009 Row 3.
Oh, yeah.
Or Round 3.
Yeah, Round 3. Yeah, 9009 had it. Yeah.
I think there was... Yeah, there was an Icon Mods kit for that I think included Row 4 bottom row, but I think the default base kit had Row 5 for Round 3.
Yeah, I think it's a valid option. I really like Row 5, so yeah, I'm always...
someone's saying ASCII in chat as well. That could be as well. I don't remember if ASCII did or not, but sure, yeah, good.
One that I always wished had a Row 5 bottom row was Honeywell. I would absolutely love to see Honeywell with Row 5.
Yeah, I feel like all those kind of classic colorways, those more iconic like lineage in our community kind of sets should really have that row 5.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyways, moving on. Melody is asking, Jay, if you don't believe in endgame for keyboards, do you have an endgame or grail for pens? While you answer this, I'm actually going to go take a piss, which I know is really unprofessional, but I really have to go.
What? Brian,
you have 30 seconds to answer this question, all right?
In 2 years, you've never done this, dude. You've never
Yes,
taken...
I have. Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Not while I've been on the show, you haven't.
Yeah.
Not while I've been on the show.
Yes, I have. I can guarantee it, actually. I can prove it to you, in fact, Jay.
I'd like to see that proof.
I'll show you later. Anyways, I'll be right back, guys.
Go on.
While Jay answers this question.
Yeah, in terms of having endgame for a pen, not really is the honest answer. I just like to collect them. I've probably got a couple of hundred different fountain pens. All tend to be Parker. My daily driver is actually a solid brass pen that I use, which is fountain pen. This is solid brass. Really nice, really heavy. And I use that pretty much exclusively. The others don't get used. So there's a couple of Parker 45s here that I got in the mail the other day, and a duo fold as well. Again, these probably won't ever get used. They'll just go and sit in the collection. Maybe write the odd birthday card or something with them just for fun. But I just think they look nice. I just like to have them. I would like a Pilot Mew, MYU. I've been trying to find one of those in the UK for a long time. Still never found one. I've tried to buy a few off of eBay. Always seem to get outbid at the last second. I don't think they're worth the price that they go for, but I would really like one from an aesthetics point of view. There you go. Here he comes. Here he is. He's back again. I don't know. Taking toilet breaks in the middle of Top Clack.
I know. It's just about the worst that it could possibly be.
Yeah. Really bad. Really bad.
Yep. All right, where are we at? I assumed you answered the pen question.
I did answer the pen question, yes.
All right. Did you answer the "How are you not tired, Jay" question?
No, I can't see that far back in chat. Who asked that?
Oh, that was right after the pen question, actually. That was by Muppin V. He forgot to tag us.
So what I do, Muppin, is I have a nap for about 2-3 hours before the show. Wake up, get up, do the show from midnight till 4 a.m. ish, and go back to bed, and then get up for work at 7. That's kind of what I do. Jay's
kind of a beast when it comes to the Thursday, Friday top clackery. He's
you gotta do what you gotta do.
That's right.
Simple as that.
That's right. See. What is this? Kiryu in chat understands. Hey man, when you gotta go, you gotta go. I completely agree. No one should be shunned for going to the bathroom. All right.
Man,
I stay way too hydrated is my problem. I drink so much water throughout the day. And I try to drink less on Thursdays before the show so I don't have to go during the show, but sometimes it just blanks my mind. But it is what it is. Hopefully you guys will forgive me someday. Captain Schwa subbing at tier 1 for 30 months. 30 months.
That's huge.
30 months. My guy. Thank you so much.
2.5 years, man.
It's always been a pleasure to have you around, even though you don't interact as often as maybe some of us might like. But always good to see you, man. Always good to see you.
Hugely good to see your name pop up there. 30 months, that's crazy good. Thank you, dude. Thank you.
Heck yeah. Pretty sure he is the pinnacle of Top Clack sub in terms of length.
The OG, right?
The OG. I think. Could be wrong, but I think.
You think?
All right. Kaz asking you, got any Mont Blanc pens, Jay?
No, I don't have any Mont Blancs. I have this weird affectation for Parker pens, and I think it's because when I was in school I used Parker pens pretty much exclusively. So they had this really cheap pen as a fountain pen called the Parker Vector, and they used to do it in all sorts of different colorways and styles, and I've always liked to collect things, so that's where my love of pens grew from. They were cheap and inexpensive at the time, and they came in tons of great colorways, and I just liked them, so it kind of grew from there. And then I just pretty much buy any good looking Parker pen that's in good condition that I can get my hands on. So yeah.
Cool. All right. Heat Loss asking, what giant beige board is behind you, Jay?
Beige board? The giant beige board?
I think he's referring to your Jur. Your
Oh, the
J80.
J80. Yeah. That's the J80. Yeah.
I'm assuming that's what he means.
Yeah, that's using OG die subs as well. UK OG die subs.
Oof, that is clean.
Yeah. It's a great board as well. It sounds great. It feels great, and it looks great. So yeah, PCB mount for the win.
Mr. Petrov finally arrives, and he says, "I'm late, but how is Jay's new Ember mug?"
Yeah, well, considering you convinced me to spend a small fortune on this, it's quite nice, Petrov. So there we go. Yeah, I've been thoroughly enjoying using it. The only thing I will say is I left the remains of my coffee in there and then put it back on the thing and forgot to turn it off. I'm going to try and see if I can get this to show this on camera without spilling, but no, I can't quite do it without spilling. But it's now got a skin on top of it, so yeah, don't leave it without stirring it for like 45 minutes because it gets like a skin on it. Lovely, but yeah, it keeps it warm. It works. It's good. Yeah.
As long as it was worth the small fortune. I love Chuletas. I think is how that's pronounced. Is asking, out of all the kits coming in this March/April timeline, which ones are you guys most excited about? Jeez, kits. I'm assuming you mean keyboards.
Well, he goes on to say GMK Masterpiece would be my pick on that, so I think he means key sets.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I guess kits could mean sets as well. I don't see why not. Let me pull up the old key set doc here. See what's coming out next month.
There's just so much.
You can't keep track of it, right? Like there's always too many sets to come out with.
I'm hyped for Skeletor's comeback. That's a big one for me. I've always been a fan of that colorway, so I'm hyped for that.
Let's see what's running in March. GMK Honey, Cat Atlantis.
Okay, nice set.
Yeah, GMK Honey looks pretty decent. I don't know if I'm gonna buy it, but I like the way it looks. Cat Atlantis, I'll probably pass on. I don't usually like those faded tier sets or whatever they're called. But it's a decent looking set. SA Sale. I don't care for SA,
skip
so
SA.
I'll skip on that. GMK Ashes. I do kind of like Ashes. I'll consider Ashes. Tarot Round 2. I passed on the first one. I'll probably pass on the second run as well.
See, I'll probably pick up the Alpha Cullen mods for that. I'll probably pick that up because I've got the Round 1 set, so I'd just probably pick up the add-on sets for it.
Yeah, for sure. GMK Botanical. That might be my favorite set coming out next month.
Yes. I didn't realize that was March, actually. I thought that was later on.
I'll probably buy that. I don't know. I feel like I told myself months ago I needed to decide between Botanical and Ursa. I know they are fairly different sets, but I was kind of choosing in my head which one I wanted more, and I wound up buying Ursa. But honestly, I might wind up just buying Botanical as well. Because Botanical really does look fantastic. GMK Kaiju is happening. This is all happening before the 4th of March, by the way.
All before the 4th of March?
All before the 4th of March. Kaiju, I'm not really sold on. It's a little too busy for me.
I don't dislike it. I like the green and the orange together if it's still got those colours in it. It's a while since we looked at that one.
I don't hate it, but it's obviously we'll cover these as they come up as well.
What's coming up in April?
In April? I'm not even done with March yet.
Oh gosh, go on then.
There's still Lunar, GMK Lunar in March.
Yeah,
GMK.
So I'll definitely want that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna get that or not. I'll probably wind up passing. I'm either gonna get Lunar or I'm gonna get Apollo. I think. I'll have to decide.
I'll probably get both. I think. Yeah.
GMK Forge is happening. That's been in the works for quite a while.
Drifting Buddies. Yeah.
So GMK Forge coming. That looks pretty decent. Then towards the end of March there's the GMK White on Black 40s and Culverac Row 0 Row 5 compatibility kit.
Yep.
Yeah. April, so far we have Nautilus 2 scheduled, as well as Bushido. Cat White on Black. Might get Cat White on Black. That might be something I'm sold on. Bushido, I'm not really sure. I like the theme, and I like Beep's design work a lot, but I think I would need too many kits for Bushido to make it the way I want. And, this is interesting. Infinity Pastel. Is that
Okay.
the pastel colorway that Tiny was working on in
It may well be.
2017
Yeah.
or whatever, 2016? Because that could be interesting. Finally coming to a key set. Been in the works for a long time. So yeah, that's kind of cool as well. That's what's listed on this doc as well. But obviously there could be other things. But nothing for me personally. Nothing's jumping out at me except for Botanical. Is probably what I'm going to struggle with not buying.
The only other one I can think of that you haven't mentioned, I think he's running in April, is Noel. I think GMK Noel. I think that's going to run April. I don't know. I might be wrong on that, actually. I might be a little bit. Yeah.
Ooh. It's not listed here, but yeah, definitely could be.
I could be wrong. It might be a little bit later on. Then I'm not
I
sure.
do like Noel though. I think Noel's an underrated colorway. Oh, Pastel is by Mint Lodi. Okay, so this is a different colorway, a newer colorway then. Because I know Tiny Vector, previously of Top Clack, was working on a pastel colorway in like 2016, and then Tiny launched an interest check for a set called GMK Pastel in either 2016 or 2017. I remember Vector was so mad that he didn't release his IC for it first. It was kind of funny.
Bless. Oh well.
That's
it
kind
happens.
of fun. But yeah, so I guess off the top of my head right now, Botanical is what I'm most excited for, but I'm looking forward to a few things.
Nice. Yeah, there's it's just so many sets coming out these days. Just difficult. Yeah. Difficult to pick.
It's so, I mean, with so many GMKs, so many key sets in general launching every single month, I gotta be honest, it's hard for me to be overly excited about any one of them, just because it does feel so saturated in the market right now. I'm finding myself caring less and less about key set colorways, and more of just like, am I using GMK, or am I using Infinikey, or am I using Enjoy PBT? And I'm finding myself just caring less and less about actual colorways, which is...
So it's been quite interesting for me over the past couple of years, because I don't know if you remember, Brian, but towards the middle of last year, I said, right, at one point when I first joined Top Clack, when GMK sets weren't running quite as often as they are now, I bought most key sets that ran, and certainly if you go back to like 2016, I bought pretty much every GMK set that ran because I liked them, and you could do it then. It was one set a month, if that.
Yeah,
so
at most, yeah.
And what I said last year is, I can't remember exactly when it was probably towards the middle of the year, I suspect, is that if a set didn't support UK ISO, I wasn't going to buy it. And that was great, that was fine, and that saved my wallet a bit. And there was some sets that I didn't get, which I quite liked because they didn't support it. I broke the rule a couple of times, such as GMK 9s and GMK Mizu, although I completely forgot I was getting Mizu until it turned up, which was a nice surprise on the day. But... The thing I'm finding now, that there's that many sets that are running, that even if not all of them offer UK ISO, there's still too many to buy that do offer UK ISO each month, and I can't keep up with them anymore.
Yeah. It's not really like possible for everyone to own every key set these days like it used to be.
No.
You know, back when it was one key set every like month or two, that was the big deal, and everyone got into it because that was it. And then now, you know, you have every week there's 7 new sets launch.
I wouldn't be surprised if we've had more GMK sets run in the last 12 months than in the previous 4 or 5 years that GMK sets have been running combined.
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt. Yeah, it's such a weird thing to think about too.
Yeah, and it's just crazy how quickly it's ramped up to that kind of level as well. It just came out of nowhere. So literally the start of 2019 was when it just started to go huge, and sets started to sell 1,000 units without any problems. Bento was probably the biggest one that kicked it off at that kind of time. There had been some big sets before, like Laser and Nautilus Round 1. I don't want to take anything away from those sets, but when Bento came out and it was on novel keys, we'd not seen any set sell 1,000 base units off of drop at that point, or mass drop as they were back then. And then now it's just gone crazy, and now we're seeing 1,000 base kits sold in a day with things like Modern Dolch Light through Dixie, which is just huge, just crazy huge.
I have a question for you, Jay, and actually for everyone in the community. Let me give you a hypothetical situation. Let's say that GMK, obviously GMK, they work with our community relatively closely these days. Actually, they're very supportive of the custom mechanical keyboard community, and they make that pretty obvious. But we don't make up the bulk of their income, obviously. They're much more industrial level customers are going to do that. But we are still a very quickly rising percentage of their revenue, which is kind of interesting to me. But let's just say, for the sake of this discussion, that GMK invests a little bit of money, and let's say they get more equipment to make key sets faster. They do whatever they need to do to, let's say, churn out a key set in a month's time. I know that seems ridiculous, but I'm gonna say a month, a 1 month turnaround time between the order submitting to shipping to vendors for distribution. Let's say there's a world where that plays out. Do you think that we would see more key sets designed in our community right now than we already do?
Tough question. So I don't think that the rate of key set design necessarily depends on the speed of production. I think it depends on the size of the community more. So the larger the community gets, the more key sets we'll have, because more people have ideas, more people want to see reruns of things. I just think that's the more natural progression. What I do think is, if GMK could do their production of any key set within a month, and turnaround times became, say, 6 weeks from let's say realistically it was 8 weeks. So group buy opened on, say, the 1st of March, group buy ran for March, and then the production started the 1st of April, and then it was with vendors by the end of April. Realistically, you've got an 8 to 10 week timeline between the group buy opening and all sets being delivered. That would probably really, encourage people to join more, because they don't have a 6 month wait or an 8 month wait, or if in the likes of Signature Plastics, a 12 or 16 month wait. I think it would encourage more buyers. The more interesting thing is, what would that do to price points? If vendors knew that they could run more group buys because they were going to, turn out more sets, would that mean that they drop prices, or would the extra work mean they'd increase prices? I mean,
it's so hard to say, right? Because, we're running so many sets right now, but when you think about it, so many of them are succeeding. A lot of them really heavily. Look at things like Dracula, that just sold ungodly amounts of units. I don't know. I feel like our community seems to have a lot more money than I used to think, and people are totally okay with, the amount of GMK sets, for example, that are happening right now.
Yeah, I think one of the big things I've seen in the hobby is people move from being in the community because they like keyboards to talk about things, and buying the odd thing here and there, to actually actively being collectors of stuff. So it's no secret that I like to collect things. I genuinely do. I have different things that I collect in my life. People have just found out about my pens today just because I happen to be on my desk. That's the thing. I think there are more and more people who are becoming affluent, and they want to buy things that support their hobbies and interests. And at the end of the day, the way I liken this to people when they ask me why do you like custom keyboards, and why do you want to do all these projects or design your own, or whatever. The thing I always liken it to is, if you spoke to a handyman and he had a drill that was $500, you wouldn't question that. That's his tool. He does his job. He needs a drill to do his handyman stuff. If you spoke to an electrician, he might have a series of diagnostic tools that cost him $1,000 or whatever. If you speak to a mechanic, he's probably got some snap-on tools that cost him thousands and thousands of dollars, and that's absolutely completely fine. In a modern day world, there are plenty of people who are technicians and engineers whose day job it is to sit at a computer and code. That means that their tool is their keyboard, and I think that those jobs are paid quite well. There are more and more jobs of that type becoming available. And people who are developing code, they're rewarded really well by the companies that hire them, in terms of salary, benefits, and all of that kind of thing. Why wouldn't those people who are doing that and need a tool, and their tool is their keyboard, same as a mechanic spanner, why wouldn't they want a high-end piece of kit? And I think that's what's driving the community to grow larger and larger.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no arguing with that. And with that, I think we're actually caught up on questions from what I see. So we'll wait just another couple minutes, see if you guys have last-minute questions coming in.
We've got an opportunity to have a 90-minute show here, Brian.
If we leave in 1 minute and 3 seconds, yes.
A 90-minute show.
I don't know. What do we do, Jay? Do we run? Do we just run right now?
Yeah, let's go a 90-minute show. Heat loss. Yes, I have Snap-on tools. I have some Snap-on tools, not all of them. Yeah. Jay, what do you think about the progression of split keyboards? I think it's very interesting. Japan has the edge, and we should go further with it. There we go. Done.
That question is so deep, and there's so much to answer about that question, but you summed it up so fast. You are right, though. I think Japan does have the edge.
yeah, I'm not wrong, right?
You're not wrong. This level of efficiency scares me. Yeah, Captain Schwa's been around since the beginning. He's not used to Top Clack being a quick and efficient show, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
If I were you, Blennon, I would not be happy with that answer, but it was pretty
I think
funny.
we should see more in the split space. The answer was perfectly fine. It answered the question perfectly in my head.
Yeah. But don't worry, I've just been rambling to officially get us over 90 minutes just to upset you.
It's fine. It's fine.
We're now 16 seconds over, so Jay's gonna have nightmares if he chooses to go back to bed.
The big reason why I mentioned Japan is because I know Bledin's flying out there. I think it's today actually. He's actually on his way out to Japan. I'm pretty sure it's Friday, so today here in the UK. I'm pretty sure he's flying out today. So yeah.
Chuletas is asking, how do we feel about the new Relic SSK coming on TKC? So I actually, today's the first day I've seen it, and I gotta be honest, those pictures look pretty fantastic.
So there's a couple of really interesting things about this. The plate on it's curved, so that curve that you saw in the board, the plate's curved as well, and as you can imagine, that means that the PCB is curved too. Using a 0.6mm thick PCB to get it curved on the inside of the case.
Wait a minute. Is the Relic SSK the same one that's been an interest check for like a really long time?
Yeah, it's designed by Dr. Click, who's a really big collector over in, I think he's in China. He's in Asia anyway. Huge collector over there, has a massive collection from what I understand. But yeah, Relic SSK. It's a beautiful board. I absolutely love it. I've been watching it for a while. I think I first saw it last year. I think couldn't swear to that though. But yeah,
it does look pretty nice. I've always been a fan of like the SSK aesthetic, that like industrial IBM level like componentry, just like always looks so nice.
What I'm really interested in is how the curved PCB and plate will interact with keycaps, how that will change the feel of sculpts and things like that as well. I'm really interested to see how that works.
That's true. You might benefit from something a little bit more gentle or flatter of a sculpt on something like that.
Yeah. Or it might even make things like SA more comfortable, actually, thinking about it.
I guess, yeah. Yeah, hard to know.
It's a very interesting board, and the only slight downside to it is because they're using a 0.6mm thick PCB, you do have to use plate mat stabs. That's the literal downside to that board.
The plate also has...
stunning.
Or the PCB is hot swap too. That's kind of interesting.
I'm not sure if it's going to remain hot swap or if it's going to be sold as well.
On TKC, it still currently says hot swap, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
There's a solenoid. There's a solenoid in it. Oh, that's incredible. Okay, that's that's pretty awesome. All right, yeah. Unless this is like ungodly expensive, I think I have to get one of these.
Yeah, I definitely want to get one. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to be all over it.
That's so pretty. It's going to be so big, though, but it's going to be so pretty. All right, yeah, I'm getting one of those. Anyways, now that we've effectively passed the 90-minute mark, I think now's a good time for us to head off.
Pretty much, yeah, absolutely. So, you got any more streams coming up before we finish?
I'm not going to promise anything tomorrow because I'm not sure what's going on yet tomorrow. I'm waiting on replies from a staggeringly high amount of people, actually. As far as guests are for behind the keyboard, there's very specific people I want to try to get as a first guest. But it turns out like the really, really high profile people are usually the busiest.
That's funny. Yeah,
it's weird how that works. It's kind of weird how that works. So it's been kind of a challenge. But more info on that coming soon. Build streams, I do have multiple build streams lined up. I'm currently waiting on switches to arrive. So once those arrive, I can build like 2 or 3 boards.
Cool. Yeah, I think I'm going to be building my personal IDB this weekend. I've got my stainless steel chrome finished stainless steel board. I think I'm going to be building that on Sunday. That's the current plan, and that might change. I might pick something else instead, but that's my current plan to build that. Unless something else interesting comes in the post. We shall see. And right at the very start of the show, I did, because I know now we've got to do the 24-hour thing before we upload VODs. I did finally upload my Jane build from Sunday. Right at the start of the show. So that should be on YouTube now.
Yeah, actually, since we haven't addressed it live on stream yet, let me just talk about that for a second. So basically, Twitch's current terms of service do not allow affiliates, and presumably partners as well, on Twitch to upload their VODs to other platforms within 24 hours of the produced content. So we have to wait 24 hours after the stream ends before we can upload the YouTube VOD now. That's why last week's episode took an extra 24 hours or whatever to be uploaded. I did make an announcement in the Discord, but I know not everyone's in the Discord, not everyone saw it. So keep that in mind. If you're wondering why it was late, that's because Twitch's terms of service. And sadly, you know, we're trying to make partners still, so we gotta follow those terms of service. Unfortunately, well, I'm trying to look into alternative methods, perhaps, but right now this is what we're sticking with. So you do have to wait an additional 24 hours for the YouTube VOD. If you're desperate, you can just watch the Twitch VOD.
I will try and not leave it 4 days after doing a build stream to upload the VOD. I will try and remember to do it 24 hours afterwards, but yeah, we'll see how we go from there.
Yeah. Bledden asking if we can multicast. That's also against Twitch's terms of service. You can't stream to YouTube simultaneously with Twitch.
When you're a partner.
When you're an affiliate or a partner, yes. Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, that's been against terms of service for quite a while, like Gio mentioned. Unfortunate, but it is the way it is. We'll try to keep you guys updated with all the info that we have. Otherwise, we hope that you enjoyed the stream as much as we enjoyed doing it for you. And yeah, make sure to tune in on Sunday for Jay's build stream, and of course tune in next week, same time, same place on Thursday for another episode just like this one. Until then, hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your morning or noon or night, depending on where you are in the world. And check below the stream. You can find our official Discord link. You can come and hang out there, talk about keyboards, or talk about music, or talk about your pets, or the cheese that you had 2 weeks ago. Lots of things to talk about there. You can check out our YouTube channel, also linked below. All the VODs get posted there, as well as typing tests and other various content. So yes, make sure to subscribe to all that goodness, and we will see you next time. We love you all.
See you later, guys.